Some marriages fail, which is devastating to the couple, the children, and all involved. But why do marriages fail? Furthermore, how do we handle these unfortunate and heartbreaking situations? One possibility is that the relationship was never an actual marriage in the first place. That's where annulments come in. An annulment is a declaration that no marriage existed and that the man and woman are not husband and wife. In this episode of Aquinas 101, we will investigate the nature and process of annulments. Marriage is a lifelong, exclusive union between a man and a woman for their mutual support and the bearing and raising of children. The state of marriage is founded upon the act of marital consent. Usually this act occurs in a wedding ceremony, when the man and woman exchange marriage vows. Because marriage is a profound union of two persons, interpersonal challenges almost always occur. An opportunity for marital glory is to overcome these challenges through God's grace and human cooperation. Help is found in many forms: prayer, self-sacrifice, forgiveness, friends, family, and professional counseling. Marital failure can occur for several reasons. It could be that spouses fail to be truthful to their vows. One or both spouses could refuse to love the other any further, out of boredom or lack of interest. A spouse could commit adultery, which should rightfully anger the other spouse, and which could lead to marital separation, even against the call for forgiveness. In each of these cases of marital failure, a person refuses further commitment. It's also possible that there was no marriage in the first place, and that the common life that has been occurring or that was occurring was really not marital. A kind of fiction was lived, whether intentionally or accidentally. For instance, a man and woman could start living together without any marital commitment, and they could just call each other by the names of husband and wife in order to accommodate their lifestyle to cultural norms. Maybe there could be civil legal effects for such cohabitation, but their mutual intention may be to avoid marital commitment. A different situation would be when one or both persons intend to get married, but something prevents the marriage. Three types of problems may exist. First, there may be an objective impediment based upon a physical, intellectual, volitional, social, or religious condition. For instance, a man married to a woman cannot simultaneously marry another woman. Or a man cannot marry a man. A second type of problem is when a person has defective consent. For example, if a woman is seriously immature or imprudent about trying to enter into marriage with a particular man, there could be an inability to exchange marital consent. A stereotypical example would be if a man and woman met for the first time one night in a Las Vegas bar, got drunk, decided that they should get married, and that night profess marriage in a wedding chapel before an Elvis Presley impersonator. A third basic problem is when there is a fundamental defect in the form by which the couple exchange consent. For instance, a Catholic is required by the church to be married in a Catholic ceremony, or in some ceremony that his or her Catholic pastor has allowed. For a Catholic, professing marriage vows simply in a civil courtroom before a state official would not be enough. No marriage would occur. For these messy situations, a proper official can evaluate the situation and declare that no marriage ever occurred. That is what happens in an annulment. There is a difference between a divorce and an annulment. In a divorce, marriage is not viewed as permanent until death, and marriage can be ended by the state or one or both spouses. This is problematic. Jesus affirmed that marriage is for life. Divorce, in and of itself, is a grave offense. It may be that spouses need to separate their common life because of marital difficulties, but divorce goes a step further and falsely claims to break the marital contract. Divorce is a sin against marriage. That being said, In certain civil jurisdictions where separation and divorce are not adequately defined, if civil divorce remains the only possible way of ensuring certain legal rights, the care of the children, or the protection of inheritance, then it can be tolerated and does not constitute a moral offense. Different from divorce, annulment declares that no marriage ever occurred. Annulment does not end a marriage, as divorce does. In an annulment situation, there never was a marriage. In some places, annulment is a civil legal possibility. In our example of the Las Vegas Elvis wedding, a civil judge could declare, "The two of you were drunk when you hatched this crazy idea and professed your undying love before the Elvis minister. You are not married." The Catholic Church can also judge if an annulment is warranted. This flows from the responsibility of the Church's pastors, her pope, bishops, priests, and deacons, to exercise Christ's governance of his people. In the New Testament, we see the apostles issuing marriage guidelines and advice. For an annulment to be issued, the Church's local diocese does an investigation. This process is regulated by the Church's canon law. Various clergy or laypersons investigate the history of the presupposed marriage and gather witnesses' testimony and evidence. A judge or a tribunal of judges evaluates the case and issues a sentence. Appealing a court's decision is possible. An official called the defender of the bond makes sure that the sanctity of marriage is respected and that there is no procedural sloppiness or misbehavior that would tolerate the investigation to degenerate into divorce by another name. For the man or woman who petitions for an annulment investigation, sometimes there are financial fees to cover the administrative costs, but the Church works to keep those at a minimum. The annulment process involves fallible human beings. However, the Church's law and procedures try to maintain objective processes and decisions. If an annulment is declared, any children of the relationship are not considered to be illegitimate. They are loved and respected, and the Church's annulment process works to ensure that the children's needs continue to be met by the parents. The annulment process, like the Church as a whole, seeks to serve a person's well-being, especially their spiritual well-being. It helps us to be faithful to Christ's teaching about marriage and to promote happy and holy marriages and families. For readings, podcasts, and more videos like this, go to Aquinas101.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for one of our free video courses on Aquinas. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends, because it matters what you think.